All right, it's time. Let's see your presentation.
Here we have the Unity Center, and our display is called the Muse Me Museum.
What you've seen around the classroom is the Students' Museum project. We set this in line with the California history standards. So at about the beginning of the fourth quarter, we do a huge review and preview of topics that come up in the second half of the 20th century. So we start with World War II and then look at changes in America after World War II, our foreign policy, involvement in civil rights, and kind of leading into what's the world like today and why. And then they have to choose a topic. And then they came up with an essential question, a driving question, a question that gets at something controversial, important, or interesting. And they wrote a research paper, a traditional research paper. They had to get primary sources, they'd go to the library, they use the internet, all the resources kids do to write the paper. After writing the paper, they created an exhibit for their museum, a diorama. One of the things that's neat is the floor plan of the museum becomes a visual organizer for the whole time period. So where are you going to put the Vietnam War? Where on this floor plan does it fit, and why do you put it next to the Korean War, or how come you would put it next to rock and roll? Different groups make different decisions, but they have to think about where things fit because they're putting it in a space. One of the things I like about the project is it allows students at some place to really use one of their strengths. So if they're a visual learner, they have the chance to present visually. If they're if they are good at presenting, they have a chance to do a verbal presentation. If they're a good writer and a good researcher, they have a chance to do that. But on the flip side is if they have any weaknesses, they have to build up their weaknesses too. So they have a chance to use their strength somewhere in the project, but they also have the obligation and the opportunity to work on all sorts of other skills.
The crystal box, it's made entirely out of...
This school, I think, is a really effective school, and it has so many strengths. Part of what makes it successful, our administration encourages creativity, encourages diverse ideas in the classroom. One of the things the school put in place about 15 years ago was a service requirement that our kids would do some volunteer work, and it turned into a service learning program where you try to develop service projects in your classroom that lined up with your curriculum. And that helped transform the community's perception of our school. Instead of seeing our kids as, only two kids allowed in our store in the afternoon was kind of the perception 15 years ago. Now it's, oh, hey, those are the kids who are volunteering at the YMCA, or didn't I see you at the City of Fremont celebration? So they start to be seen as assets to the community, but I think more importantly, the kids start to see themselves as assets.